time for my end of the month roundup of the best metal albums of August 2023. I'm only considering metal albums for this list. There were still some good rock and alternative albums, but I won't include them here. I may have a few surprises. There's one artist that I've claimed to be one of my favorites of all time appearing on this list, but spoiler alert, his album won't be number one. I will also be admitting that I was wrong with one of my reviews this month. This will all be coming up. I have 15 albums, so let me jump right into it. At number 15 is Werewolves, My Enemies Look and Sound Like Me. This is a short album. It's only 9 minutes and 34 seconds. Most of the album consists of very fast and aggressive songs. The guitars sound like buzzsaws that slice right through you. Sometimes they change tempos to keep things interesting. The vocals are very harsh and guttural, so if you're somebody looking for clean singing, this is not for you. The drumming is very intense. One song stood out. That was the fifth song called Destroyer of Worlds. It was a little slower than the others, so it was good to hear something different after after a lot of fast-paced songs. That song in particular had more of a death doom type of sound. The rest of the songs in the album have a very fast-paced death metal sound, so it's a good album for fans of extreme music. At number 14 is Ringworm with Seeing Through Fire. This is another album that kind of goes by fast. It's 11 songs in 31 minutes. Every song is just very fast and energetic. They list this band as a hardcore band or metallic hardcore. I think it's more like an extreme thrash band like Power Trip or Enforced. Anyway, if you don't put a label on it, it's a very fast and aggressive album. Most of the songs are about 2 minutes or more long. There are some blazing guitar solos. The vocals are very angry sounding. The guitar riffs are fast. This album is for those who like extreme metal. This band has also been around for 30 years, so this was not too bad. And check it out. Number 13 is Icon of Sin with Legends. This is another one of those bands that sounds a lot like Iron Maiden. That's because the vocalist is named Rafael Mendez. You may know him from YouTube. He does a lot of Bruce Dickinson impressions. The band is from Brazil. And the album is pretty good. It doesn't sound exactly like Iron Maiden. I would say the sound is closer to that post-2000 sound of the band, which was when Bruce came back. I don't have any much more to say about it, but songs are very melodic. If you like modern Iron Maiden, I would say this band is worth checking out. At number 12 is Kataklysm with Goliath. This is a Canadian death metal band. They have a lot of groove in their sound. They've been around for a while now. This is their 14th album. This is a band that gives you what you expect. They don't stray from their formula. And this album is solid. This is one of those albums that's great to listen to while at the gym or just when you want some heavy riffs and death metal. And it's death metal with like a lot of melody in the songs. The vocals are very harsh, but at the same time you can understand the lyrics. So this would also be a good gateway death metal band for those metal fans who have only listened to maybe like Iron Maiden or Metallica. And if you're looking to like broaden your horizons, this is a good album. It's not the like most excellent album ever, but it's worthy of making this list. At number 11 is Celestial Sanctuary with Insatiable Thirst for Torment. This is an old school death metal band that's part of that new wave of OSDM. This band is new on the scene. They are from Cambridge, England. They formed in 2019. This is their second full-length album. My first impression of the band was that they reminded me a lot of Obituary. The songs are not super fast and the vocals are very sick and vile sounding. The vocals sound like an actual zombie, and I've said that before about other death metal bands. The band is also similar to some of the other new death metal bands out there. Maybe like Undeath, Creeping Death, or Frozen Soul. The album is full of chugging guitar riffs with songs that are not too slow but not too fast. I think that's what I like about this band, and the song titles are also very clever. One song is called Gutted with Chunder. I didn't know what Chunder was, so I googled it, and it means vomit in British slang. So anyway, check out this album. At number 10 is Orbit Culture with Descent. This is another band that's hard to categorize. They're listed as groove metal and melodic death metal. I think they are a mix of genres. I can hear the melodic death metal influence. Sometimes they could sound like the band In Flames. Other times they get heavy and then they can get atmospheric. The vocals are very good. They're both harsh and clean. Sometimes the vocals actually sound like a dog barking. Some of the songs have these softer breakdowns where they add in some different instruments like violins or some catchy choruses. And example of that would be from the song From the Inside. That has one of those sing-alongable choruses. The last song in the album is called Through Time. That was one of the slower and more atmospheric songs. And overall, this was pretty good. At number 9 is U.D.O or U.D.O with Touchdown. So this is the band of U.D.O Dirkschneider. He is the frontman. He was the original vocalist for the band Accept. He left in the 80s. He started this band and he went back to Accept for, I think, 3 albums in the 90s. And then since then, he's been releasing albums with his band. And it's an album that sounds like classic Accept. That's how I describe it. The band has been very consistent. I remember the last album was 2 years ago. I think U.D.O released a few cover albums in the meantime. But this album is solid. Pretty much all the albums have been consistently pretty good. The opening track is called Isolation Man. This is a song about the pandemic. It's a pretty cool song. It has that Painkiller style drum intro. And this band also likes classical music. So, for example, the guitar solo of the song Fight for the Right, they just go into this famous classical music piece. I don't remember the name of it. It's a very well-known piece of music. It's pretty cool. It's a solid album, and that's all I can say. At number 8 is Vandenberg with Sin. So this is a band that was started by guitarist Adrian Vandenberg. They released 3 albums in the 80s, and then he joined Whitesnake. The band has been on hiatus for many years, and then they released an album in 2020 with Ronnie Romero on vocals. One of the many albums with Ronnie Romero. That guy seems to be everywhere. But anywhere, they released another album with a new vocalist. His name is Matt Slevin. He sounds more like David Coverdale. So the result is an album that sounds like late 80s Whitesnake. The album is very good. The songs are well written. It's a hard rock album with one power ballad called Baby You've Changed. Another standout track is called Burning Skies. I like the guitar riff in the song. Overall, good album if you like Whitesnake, if you like guitars, you like 80s glam, and it's pretty cool. Check it out. At number 7 is Dethklok with Dethalbum IV. This is a very different band because it's a death metal band from a cartoon called Metalocalypse. I would say the only one of its kind. The way I would describe it is it would be a death metal band for fans of old school death metal or melodic death metal. But at the same time, it's campy enough to appeal to anyone who likes cartoons. The creator of the show is the frontman of the band, and he's a big metalhead. So that's why the cartoon has a big cult following. The cartoon had 3 seasons. It was canceled, I think, over 10 years ago. But since then, they have released 2 straight DVD movies. One of them just came out a week ago. So this is just a fun, campy death metal album and worthy of being on this list. At number 6 is Urne with A Feast on Sorrow. This is one of those bands that's hard to put into a specific genre. I think that the Metal Archives website says metalcore and sludge metal or something like that. It seems to be one of those genre-defying bands. The album had 9 songs in 51 minutes. Some of the songs are longer than others. The vocals can vary. Sometimes they're harsh, sometimes they're clean. Sometimes it sounds like atmospheric post-metal, and other times it sounds like thrash. It's an album that keeps you on your toes. It's very engaging. I was surprised by this. I didn't listen to it when it came out. But when I did later on, I knew it would be worthy of this list. At number 5 is Exmortus with Necrophony. This is a band that's described as neoclassical, techno thrash, and death metal. I think that's a perfect description of this band. They're very unique. The music is very melodic, and a lot of times it feels like you're listening to classical music, but then they have some thrashy parts. Other times they go like full death metal. The vocals are very harsh, death metal style vocals, but you can understand what the vocalist is saying at all times. I enjoyed this album a lot. Every song is well written. There were, I think, 2 instrumentals, and the rest of the songs had vocals. The guitar playing was great. The bass guitar sounded very good, and the drumming was intense. So this band is just very underrated. Definitely check them out. So number 4, I have Alice Cooper with Road. This is the one that's going to be like a surprise because if you've been watching my channel, you know I'm a big Alice Cooper fan, and this album is pretty good. You might also be surprised I still have like 3 albums above this, but it's a good album. It's not perfect. There's still some flaws on it, a little bit of filler, and I brought it down a few points, but nonetheless, it's a little better than the previous one, Detroit Stories, and Actually just got this in, I think it was yesterday. So instead of going into full detail about the album, I already did that. So let me show you the packaging and CD. It's a single CD, opens up, has a booklet inside. There's a little jewel case there, and you got the lyrics here. Come with a booklet, and definitely pretty cool. There's some artwork, and you got lyrics for all songs. So it's pretty cool. It's a concept album about being on the road, recorded with his touring band, which is something that he doesn't always do. So, for example, like guitarist Nita Strauss, she's been with him for a while, and she's like finally like recording like an album with him. I think after a long time. So I did a full review. Go check it out. It's on my channel page. And number 3, another surprise, Horrendous with Ontological Mysterium. So when I first reviewed this album, I said that it was a little overhyped. I didn't call it a bad album. I still gave it an 8 out of 10. But now that I have spent some more time with it, I will be eating my words. As you can see, I have it high on this list at number 3. The album is like a progressive metal album. It's just turned up to the extreme. I like the fact that it's just full of surprises. Every instrument plays a major role in every song. It's not just a fast and brutal album. There are so many textures involved, as well as different tempos and time signature changes. It's a unique listening experience. It took some time to grow on me, but that's okay. It's not the first time I changed my mind on an album. And in at number 3. And number 2 is Crypta with Shades of Sorrow. So Crypta is a female death metal band featuring members of the band Nervosa, which is a similar type of band. I would say that Nervosa is more of a thrash band with death metal leanings, and Crypta is more of a death metal band with thrash elements. I know Nervosa has an album coming out in either September or October. This album is better than their debut and has been appearing on many end of the month lists from other channels. The album has lots of guitar riffs. They like to use a lot of that tremolo picking in. Sometimes the band sounds like the band Death. Other times you can hear some other influences like Sepultura. The bass guitar sounds very good. It can be heard very well. The drumming just very intense. There are lots of exciting drum fills and beats. I think the only negative with this, it's maybe a little long. Could have been trimmed down a bit. They could have maybe gotten rid of like some of those like short instrumentals. There was one at the front, in the middle, and at the end. But otherwise, one of the best death metal albums of the year. It's just a solid album. And my number 1 is Spirit Adrift with Ghosts at the Gallows. This is one of my favorite new bands out there. They are labeled as a doom band, but I think they don't fit that description. I feel that this is more of a traditional heavy metal band with some southern rock influence. I can compare them to maybe Black Label Society. There are times when the guitar riffs sound like Black Sabbath, but the thing that makes this band are the guitar riffs. This album is just full of them. The album is an improvement over their last one. I remember their previous album had some more like slow doom metal songs, but this one's mostly traditional heavy metal. The album is solid. I don't think it has any weak songs. I enjoyed this. I re-listened to it just to prepare for this list, and I believe it is my album of the month. Thanks for watching. Check out last month's top 10 video or top 15, whatever it was. Like, subscribe, comment, all that. I'll see you in the next one.